Damien, did you do much mulling over whether to appeal the Rance penalty or just cop it straight away?
No, listen, probably, look, we looked at it last year. I think 95% of cases failed to have their appeal overturned. We obviously learnt the lesson the hard way last year. And look, we don't debate that there was contact made. It was a clash of heads. So, we just accepted the penalty. The match review panel, they do a good job as they can and they make their decision. So we're obviously disappointed. He's been in really good form, Alex, and it's a real shame for the kid. He started to carve a career at full back. So, look, he'll take his 3 weeks on the sideline and we'll move on.
I was going to say, he's a big loss for you, Alex, because he has been very good. Who sort of comes into the frame for him selection-wise?
Yeah, look, we've got a couple of guys. Obviously, Dylan Grimes, another young defender. Will Thursfield, Dave Gordis. Probably not so much Gordis, his form hasn't been great, but we'll look at probably Thursfield and Grimes to fulfil that role. But in saying that, selection-wise, it's tough. We had a number of backs and forwards are relatively competitive. Our midfield was really poor last week, and a number of our good players. So selection is actually tough. They're probably the guys that deserve to be dropped. We can't drop because they're good players. So be a tough one when we get back tonight.
When you look at these guys now after round one here and compared to after round one last year, what sort of differences do you identify?
Differences is in...
just in their form, the way their approach, their attitude.
Yeah, listen, compared to last year, I'm not sure what did we lose by last year? 10 goals last year, lost by 20 points. Actually, I think 10 minutes to go, we're in front by 8 points. So, look, they've come a long way. They've still got a long way to go. We've got to remember that, we're second year in of a process that's probably going to take us some time. And, the amount of players we've brought into the club, 24 over the last 2 years, most of those are starting to contribute on a regular basis. So, although it probably seems we've become younger than last year, I think we've actually become better also, which is a great step forward for us.
Do you think a team like St Kilda, is that possible that they can make you sort of play above themselves?
We play reasonably well. There's certain sides you match up really well against, and St Kilda is one of those sides that we over the course of the last couple of times we've played them have actually competed really well. I think we've had a 20-point loss and a 35-point loss. So, look, they're a side we enjoy playing. They're a terrific outfit, a well-structured outfit, and something we strive to be. So, look, it's a great test for our guys again, and one we're very much looking forward to.
So you're getting confidence out of the recent history rather than the number of consecutive losses?
Yeah, listen, I suppose from my point of view, in this team, like 9/10 of those blokes wouldn't have played or have any recollection of that record. So last year obviously was our first year as a group, and we lost 2 of those games by under 6 goals, I think. So we're in reasonable form against the Saints, and we very much look forward to the challenge.
Is your homework on them taking in that round one performance by them, and if so, what do you take out of that in terms of your preparation going in?
Listen, the Saints will be better than what they were last week. I was at that game, and although the scoreboard will say it was a low-scoring affair, it was actually a really strong arm wrestle. Like, there's some really good, solid contests in there, and Saints play a tough, hard, contested brand of footy, as do Geelong. So, look, we look forward to that challenge of playing that sort of footy as well. And look, I'm sure it'll be a more open affair than what we saw last week. You've got to remember it's round one. Sides are generally pretty rusty, as we were, and probably St Kilda were a little bit too. So, we expect a better encounter this week.
You mentioned you're rusty. How much sort of improvement do you think you generate between sort of round one and round two?
Look, if our midfield's not better than last week, we're in a lot of trouble. They were very, very poor last week. I think we got smashed clearances, by 18, which is a smashing of biblical proportions. So we need our midfield to generate some ball. We had some really disappointing performances in there. We spoke about this week, and look, if those guys get up and going, the ball gets going in our direction, which solves a lot of our problems.
Does Jake King come straight in?
Jake will be every chance. He's a guy I love to have in the side. Obviously, he brings everything we are about as a footy club. He's tough, he's resilient, he's competitive, all those sort of things we look for in a footy player. So he'll be well and truly in the mix today.
You mentioned with the midfield, is Shane Tuck in the frame to come in or not?
Look, he's in the squad, he's thereabouts. Shane, obviously, he had a reasonable game at Coburg last week. It's just how we fit him in. There's obviously some guys through there, like, we've got Foley, Martin, Koch and those type of players. There's only a certain amount of midfielders that you can play in those sort of positions. And so Shane, he's a possibility. Whether he comes in or not, we'll wait and see.
When you weigh up the balance, do you go with, say, young bloke over Shane in terms of the development where you're heading?
No, it's hard to sort of say that, because obviously last year I think Shane missed the first 2 games and played the last 20. So regardless of where we're at, if we think a player's got a higher quality, a better player than Shane at the moment, he'll play. But otherwise, if he puts his hand up, strives to get better, then he'll play as well. So.
Do you reinforce with these guys like St Kilda last year? Do you have to say just don't look at the scoreboard, don't worry about that, it's going to be different for you this year, or do they kind of know that anyway?
Our guys you're talking about? Yeah, listen, I think, look, generally, like most coaches, the scoreboard is the end result of a lot of things. We've got to do a lot of things right for actually the scoreboard to start ticking over. So you try and take that out of it as much as you can. Like, you've got to look at the state of the game even on the weekend. The scoreboard was starting to spiral out of control a little bit, but we just got our game up and going, and then we ended up, the scoreboard took care of itself in that third quarter, and I think we have the first 3 shots of the last quarter. We kicked 3 goals, game's over. Unfortunately, didn't take our chances, turned over the ball a few times, going inside 50. So it's just a matter of when your opportunities present, you've got to take them. Unfortunately, we didn't do that the first 10 to 15 minutes of the quarter last week.
I feel like this club really lifts when Jack Revolt turns it on, starts to get fired up, and the mood really lifted around that third quarter. How much focus do you put on getting the ball to him for that benefit?
It's not so much getting the ball to Jack. If we just get the ball inside 50, we think we're generally dangerous, and our numbers indicate that as well. But unfortunately, because our midfield was that down last week, we just didn't have the entries. Like Jack kicked the goals last week, but equally Mitchell Morton looked dangerous at stages. Tyrone Vickery, when he's up there, also looks like he can take a mark. But unfortunately, if the supply's not there, no one's going to kick goals. So we just got to make sure we manufacture enough inside 50s, start winning some clearances, which is normally a strength of ours, hasn't been thus far for the last 2 weeks. Then the ball starts going in our direction.
What's the progress with Cal Moore and his hip? I see TBC next to it.
He is getting better. He's probably a couple of weeks away. He'll train today. He hasn't played one game. I actually played one game early in the year. So, look, he's a little bit off playing. He's probably around 3 or 4 by the time we get back. Look, he's probably our best defender, so we look forward to getting him back ASAP.
And Nathan Foley got over that gastro and
he did the
blazing backside.
The blazing backside, yeah. Look, he was a bit crook earlier in the week, and then he had a reoccurrence of it about halfway through the second quarter, the poor bugger. So, look, he's been up and about this week, so we look forward to him having a better game again.
Rance is obviously one you've been forced into, but are you in a position where it's still not such a bad thing to push guys through positions and see how they go?
Yeah, it is. Although we'd like to solidify our defence, one thing that probably we found over the course of the pre-season, our defence has actually held up really, really strongly. Look, Alex has been a terrific addition. He's actually put together some really good games at full back, so we're really disappointed to lose him for 3 weeks. But in saying that, it does give someone else an opportunity to try and get that spot. So, we've got two first-year players, Conqueror and Batchelor, made their debut down there this week. Alex is obviously in his 3rd year, and I think in Grimes, if he's thereabouts, is his 2nd year. So it is a real young, but it's a good defence. We feel we can build on those guys going forward.